So listen to me closely. I'm going to go deep today, okay? There is a page missing from your file. And we're not talking about a metaphor here. I'm going to show you tonight you are one of the most documented human beings who has ever lived. Now, there's a record, okay, of a second you when you were born. They put this record together. And we're talking about your fingerprints, your face, your voice, your every address, your job. All of this is in a file. We're talking sealed, retrievable in seconds. Now, your paperwork of all of this, your life will just fill a room. And we're talking an entire room is where I'm going with this. But in this room, there is a missing page. And we're talking about the same page is missing from everybody's file. 8 billion people, the same blank spot. And tonight, we're going to go over it tonight. And I'm going to prove to you that it didn't just fall out. This particular page was pulled out. Yep, I know you're probably saying, Roderick, it's Tuesday morning or evening or whatever you want to call it. But listen, now, before I tell you what's on this page or whoever pulled it, I want to tell you about something I personally found out. Because I didn't come to this just from a book and a guru like we've been talking about all week, these particular books. Something happened that I can't really explain away, right? It happened to me and I refused to stop looking. And so I was like, okay, let's go ahead and research this. And if you was here last night, we were talking about where did the thought come from? And when you watch how I do it, how I work. And so we're going to get into this a little more detail. And if you haven't seen the last episode, go watch it, from yesterday. You can't miss it. And you're going to understand we talked about when a thought arrived and how do you want to deal with that. But today, the page that I'm going to be talking about is, yeah, I could say two of the same file from yesterday and today. And I want you to get with where we're going to go with this. But before I give you any of this, let me lay out the road that we're going to travel tonight, because it's real interesting how all of this is beginning to work out. Because I will tell you today or this evening, we're going to build it like a case a little bit. I'll put some slides on the screen for you as we continue down this path. And I'll show you what I consider the evidence, and I'm going to do it in what I call in an order. First and foremost, I'm going to open tonight by asking you a single ordinary question. We're talking about the most ordinary question there is. And I'm warning you right now, you will not be able to answer it. Nobody can. And why you can't is the whole reason we're going to be talking about here tonight. Then I'll tell you about the day that I got that question asking me. I was on a live call and I froze. We're talking mid-sentence on camera because for the first time in my life, I looked at my own answer before I said it. And I caught something behind it that I've never been able to unsee. And so I'm going to share that with you today. Then I'm going to walk you into 3 places that everybody digs for the missing page. We're talking about the church, the achievements, and the whole find yourself industry. All right. We're going to look into all of those things. And we're talking about these 3 holes were years of my life and they all was empty. And I was like chasing this stuff. And again, you're going to recognize it for yourself. And if you have done this, just like I did, you probably blame your shovel. In other words, the person who was doing all this digging, who was trying. But tonight, you're going to get that shovel back and you're going to get it back with an apology. And so I want you to be ready for that. And then past the middle, I'm going to walk you through a process I'm going to put on the screen, and I'm going to write 3 words on the screen. I'll put them on the screen, and I will warn you like I warn a friend. Those 3 words re-explain your entire life in about 5 seconds. And if you saw what happened, like I said, the night that I named the last one last night, so tonight it's going to be a little older. It's going to be even worse. So I just want to get into it. And the part that I can't wait for, and after I name it, we're talking about the open book we talked about yesterday, the real one. We're going to get into what we talked about yesterday, what they dug out of the ground in Egypt in 1945, a sealed jar that somebody ordered destroyed 1600 years ago. And that book describes the thing on the screen that I'm going to be putting on here in a little bit. So we're going to get into the method And then we're going to get into actually how. So we got a lot going on tonight. And that is how you're going to look at your own day and you're going to realize you took a dose of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Okay. And this water is the metaphor for tonight. Now, and you already drink some. So I just want you to know, don't be shocked when you hear it. And if you were new here tonight, I just want to tell you plain and simple. I'm Roderick Martin. I investigate things on television. I'm in the field and here at this desk for years. And the rule never changes. I don't ask you to believe me. Belief is cheap. I don't sell it. I ask you to look. Remember, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. So everything we're going to talk about today, you can go verify me. You can verify every claim that I tell you, and I'll tell you if it's confirmed or if it's my own interpretation, or if I'm connecting the dots out loud. So I'm gonna walk you through that. And so again, I want you to check on me if you're new. Google me, and then you come back on here. That's one of the things I'll tell you. So let's get down to it because it's the same thing for truth versus authority in how we are going to roll this evening. And I promise you one of the few things that, and I said this yesterday with TK sitting over here, that um, when you leave, you're going to get some working things. This is something I'm doing now, and it's all free for you. No half answers. The door of this channel is not going to be locked for you. But I will tell you, if you're live right now, you ready? I want you to do one thing before we start. I want you to type the word page in the chat. If you ever, listen to me right now, if you ever once, even for a second, felt homesick in your own life. Now, we're talking about homesick sitting in your home, missing something that you couldn't name from somewhere you couldn't picture. That's a good question. I want you to think about that right now. I'm going to say it again. Have you ever felt homesick in your own life? We're talking about homesick. I don't care if you're just sitting at the crib, right? And you felt like you were missing something that you couldn't name and from somewhere that you couldn't picture. And I'll wait for some of your chat because I think some of you should be really not just honest with what I'm saying tonight, but you should come on with it. All right, Michelle says yes. And I'm going to explain some of that to y'all tonight. So, yeah, there we go. So we got a few people already admitting that they felt homesick. And there's a lot of people, and I'll use a different term, that felt like I don't belong here or what am I doing here? In all of these things. Okay. And so I want you to understand that every one of you that thought that feeling was yours by yourself is not. And I want you to know that thought wasn't a mood, it wasn't a phase, it wasn't something wrong with you. It never is a mood, to be honest with you, family. I'm telling you what it is. It's the oldest evidence there is that you're all reporting the same crime, because I'm calling a crime at the same time, that the homesickness has an address. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So I got a lot of big promises. If you guys are ready for a few things that I think that for the most part, we should be ready to rock and roll. And, there are some people saying I've always felt out of place. And so I just want you to know you're in the right place tonight. That's 100%. And so we're going to get down with that. So let me start the way that I promise you. Okay. With most ordinary question in the world. Remember, I said that a while ago. So the one that you won't be able to answer. And I want you to try it anyway, because trying is where the whole thing cracks open. Okay. So if y'all with me, are you with me? And we're going to get on that question. And I should have a slide here. So let me see if I have one on my screen that I can put up here for this particular question for you. So I want you to follow along with me. And I'm just giving everybody a minute to be ready because it's simple, but I want you to pay attention to this question that nobody in the billions of people cannot answer. Now, I want to start with this question, and before you answer it, because everybody's going to try it really fast, I need to tell you something about this question, okay? So it's the only question that every human being on this planet gets asked all the time. And it's the only one that nobody has ever answered. You get asked this at job interviews, first dates asked it, doctor forms ask it. Even a 5-year-old will ask you at the worst possible moment. And every single time, all of us, me included, had or what I would say, handed over a counterfeit answer. And most of us pray that nobody checks it. And so let me put it on the screen right now for you. There you go. Who are you? I want you to really look at this. And I want you right now, real quickly, watch what came into your mind. Watch what just came into your mind. And if you remember, yesterday I said, those of you who was with me where we talked about where those thoughts came from, you know how we do this. And so we watch. And if you were new tonight, I want to welcome you, family. I'm serious because last night's show taught this room how to catch a thought in the act. And tonight we're going to see why that skill matters more than you know. And so we're going to get into it right now. And if you had not watched yesterday's show, there's a link in the description. You'll be able to go check that out. So anyway, you don't need it to follow tonight, though. I just want you to know. So we're going to get into what I call the 2 pages of the same file, what we did yesterday. So listen, you all should have had an opportunity right now with that question. And I want you to really be transparent with where we're going to go. So watch what your mind reach for. It reached for your name, then a job, then roles like, oh, I'm a mother, I'm a husband, I'm one who holds down everybody. Maybe it reached for a story. You survived something where you were built. But here's the catch, every answer that you came up with was a fact about you. Not one of them was you. Let that sink in for a minute. I just want you to think about where we're going with this because we're going to get deep here. And hopefully y'all following along with what I'm saying. Again, everything you thought of was a fact. It wasn't you. You with me over there, TK? You get what I'm saying? So I'm gonna take this further. Run it again. Facts off the table this time. Okay. You can't use your name that was assigned to you before the object, or you could have, you can do nothing about that. You can't use the job. That's where you do for money. You can't use the roles. Those only things describe your position relative to other people. You can't use history. Those are things that happen to you. So everything off the table. Now answer the question, who are you? And I'm going to wait for a minute. And I want a spirit of honesty. If you are now kind of like, whoa, I want you to type stuck in the chat tonight. STUCK, because like I said, we're working with something here. And I want you to type that. So again, you left everything off the table and you said, who are you? Someone said, I'm rare, I'm unique, special force. Okay. But again, if you were stuck, just put the word stuck because again, your mind should have popped up your name, you're a mother, you do all this stuff. I got these kids, I do this, I have this kind of job, I'm all of these things and blah, blah, blah. And I know some of you are going to try to beat the system here and just come up with something because, oh, all right, cool. We got some spirit of honesty. Paul John said he was stuck. I'm going to stick with all of you honest people right now because billions of people are getting stuck on this every single day. Okay. And y'all look at the chat right now. There's other people in here saying stuck. So that wall that you all just hit is the same wall that silence we're going to talk about. That's tonight's crime scene, and we're going to use it as a crime scene. And here where it gets interesting if you hit the silence before. See, every one of you, every time you did the same thing, you backed away from it fast, you grabbed a fact, changed the subject on yourself. Now, I did this for 40 plus years, so I'm not saying you by yourself. And I've always thought the silence meant the question was too deep. We're talking philosophical, if that's the word we want to use, unanswerable by design. That's when I realized much later, and I'll tell you the exact moment tonight, that the silence isn't deep at all. The silence is empty, like a room that was cleared out. Now, follow me, because here's where I got to get honest with you, because this channel right here runs on my journey, and we've been talking about this for quite some time, not lectures. And here in the moment when I couldn't see the bigger picture, this was probably before, and here's what that felt like from the inside. So let me give you. So at first, I'm gonna tell it to you like this. I had a file, just like everyone else. I'm gonna put it on the screen real quickly. I had a file just like everybody else out here. You know, um, family. My life was thick. I had TV credits, books, investigations I did, a name of people that, people recognize. I go somewhere, they've seen me on TV, they've seen me in a grocery store, like, hey, I watch your channel. I can hand you a documentation of myself, seriously, of heavy paperwork, versions of successful things that you can just build on. And I used to sit with that whole file in front of me visually, right? And again, I felt like I was reading about a stranger. And why was that? Even though I'm talking about all these things, I was sitting here like, whoa, man. And then we tried what everybody else tried. And what I mean by that is I ran the full program, the journals. I did the personality test. In fact, I got a certification. Tell me my type, tell me my, whatever they call it, the number, or whatever is my number 3, life path number, you know, the retreats, the seminars where a man in a headset promised you'll find yourself by Sunday. It was like Friday when you get there. Some of it was good though, but none of it touched what I call the silence. And now, as of today, now I understand why none of it ever could do it, because every one of those tools was answering the wrong question. And follow along with me. And I'm going to hand you the right question in about 60 seconds here. But before I do that, there's something that you need to know about where we're going to go tonight, because it's a journey and I want you to see the road. We have to. TK's been over there preparing the Nagamano text, the book club. And where I'm speaking from is me reading this book up to now, going 2.5 times in the last 30, 40 days. And I'm reading it thoroughly, gathering a comprehension of things, and combining it with things I've already known, my books and stuff that I have over there. And it just started making sense. I'm just telling you, it started making sense. But later tonight, I'm going to tell you about the most ordinary moment of my life personally, and a moment involving that simple question that I had to answer 1,000 times. And so I'll tell you the whole story there. And again, I froze in mid sentence, and again, it caught the empty room in my head. I was like, whoa, there's nothing there. And that is the moment that we're going to come from in a few minutes. So here's what we're going to get into. And like I said, then I'll show you 3 places that everybody dig for this answer. 3 evacuations. I mean, everybody goes here. Everybody, billions of people go through these 3 places looking to find who are you, not knowing that's what they're searching for. Okay. And why every one of them come up empty. Every last one of them. I'm not making this up. Every last one of them come up empty. And I want you to understand, if you dug all 3 of these, you're going to find out it had nothing to do with the shovel. Dug meaning searching, going through everything. It's a metaphor. The shovel is the metaphor. So we're going to use the word forgiveness is coming, because same as the last show, that's the middle ground tonight that we're going to get into. So hopefully y'all are prepared for this as I continue to put things in place. I'm going to write something or actually put it on the screen here in a few minutes, and it'll be the 3 words, and you'll see them, and you're going to understand something about your entire life in about a few seconds here. So I'll get ready to put these on the screen, but I will say, people who watched that last show, I've been reading the comments. You remember what happened when the board got his name? Remember I said you have to name it. And tonight, the name is even older and it's worse after we name it, because, I'm not going to gatekeep you. I'm going to do what I did last night. I'm going to give you a practice and the way that you can actually get that memory back. All right. And it's not going to cost you anything. It's going to be free. It's going to keep it clean. So the right question is, this is the insight that changed my whole perspective. And so I want you to pay attention. I got my notes here somewhere. And to remember, like I said, for decades, I've asked myself, who am I? And I interrogated myself like a suspect, people. And maybe wrong question, maybe wrong defendant. I don't know. But you remember last night's audience, we talked about exactly how to feel about trying what I call the wrong defendant, because I kind of put everything in the metaphor of a case. And because if you think about, how we talk about this, the language will kind of give you how I'm trying to frame these things, especially all this week when we continue to go forward. So I could say I was sitting here trying to find myself. Okay, that was one of the things that I was trying to do. And you only find something that has been lost. Listen to me again. How many of you, just like me, are trying or have been trying to find yourself? Okay, come on now. And you only find something that has been lost. I just want to repeat that so it sink in. When you're looking for yourself, obviously you're looking for something that's lost. And when I say I need to remember who I am, we're talking about remember. You only remember something you once knew. I've been harping on this for quite some time. It's not so much of us forgetting and knowing and finding. We have to start remembering. It's very important that we start understanding that everything out there is designed. So the confusion is sitting inside the words. You never say, I need to invent myself. You don't do that. You don't even say that when that comes that that eight comes in. You talking 2 in the morning. You trying to figure out what's going on in my life. You ain't trying to say, oh, I need to invent myself. Whoever says that, we're talking about the pain. The pain don't want construction. That pain wants retrieval. It definitely wants retrieval. And so the real question that we're going to be getting into is the one that broke what I consider a case open for me. And that was, it was never, who am I? I know. Let me tell you what the real question is. Let me get my water here. Somehow, over all the stuff that I started going through and been through, the journey, it started not going, who am I? Because something was telling me I was something different. I started like, why can't I remember? And that took me on a whole new journey because the confirmation was there. The confirmation was I've been here before or I've experienced some of this stuff. It was there. So it was no more going, who am I? And I'm telling you, after tonight, you're going to stop saying, who am I? Because you're already divine, so to speak. We'll get into that too. It is, why can't I remember? And we're going to break all that sugar, honey, iced tea down tonight. And because it's important that we begin to do that because there's something happening and it's time for everybody to do that. So, and just when I thought I had to figure it out, and maybe this was just my personal glitch, my missing page I was talking, I noticed that the thing that I couldn't unnotice was everybody's file was missing the same page. Every human being hit the same silence when the fact was to hit the table, so to speak. Every culture on earth had a version of the same pain. Homesick in your life, missing something that you can't name from somewhere you can't even picture. One person missing a page, that's a loss. But when 8 billion people out there missing the same thing because we are all connected in this collective unconscious, Carl Jung talks about that. That's not lost, family. That's removal. And nobody loses the same page. I want you to understand where we're going tonight. And I'm going to keep reiterating on that. Somebody pulled it. And just in a second, I'm going to tell you the day that I caught the missing page in my own life, because then you're going to recognize it for yourself. But I haven't even told you the best part yet because I have been, kind of saving, we talked about cliffhangers yesterday. So anyway, when I look for something, and when I look for something, I was like, who pulled this shit? Who pulled my stuff? Where's my information? Where's my data? And that 1,600-year-old page book that we're talking about right here, and I'm gonna hold it up again. I'm telling y'all, go on Amazon and get you a copy. You got to get you a copy. It's dangerous. This stuff is dangerous in here. And I want you to know, in that 1,600 page book, from that same one jar that we talking about, didn't just say it was pulled. It described something. And in this book, it described a method, the actual mechanism. Yeah, I'm telling you. So now we're stop looking at ourselves as this human type, whatever, and start feeling who we really are and what we are is the word that I want to keep reiterating on. I'm sorry. But the whole point I'm saying, I got a grammar box, so y'all have heard it before. And the mechanism has a name so simple, so, you know how we heard the term when we grew up, that's cold blooded. It was so cold that when I pulled it out, and I'm gonna put it up in the screen in a minute, you would you probably say, "Hey, I would never heard the phrase," and you won't never say, "I'm trying to find myself the same way again." You just won't. And so, let me take you to that moment that I would consider that crack for me, and it was just kind of an ordinary day, and that's how it went. And so, um, let's follow along. Let me know if you want to hear it. Tell me in the chat. You with me? Tell me that that we're going somewhere. Just put it in here. I need a little guidance and a little raw. You know what I'm saying? And that's I as identity. You see, we got to catch that. Really, I don't. I just want us to kind of work together. All right, so we're gonna keep going with this thing, and I want you to understand how this works. Okay, when I've done 11 different TV shows, okay, 11, 12 different TV shows. I have been on the radio countless of times. I've been inserted in several other people's books. I've done a version of this interview and stuff that I do over 100 times, people. And somebody on the other end with a form. That's how they would do it. Maybe it's a warm question. Even when I was on Ancient Aliens or Gaia, they always would have their producers to call, show host calls, or whoever the showrunner, whatever it was. They always had an intake form, so they can do this. And it always had the same question. It would say, "So tell me about yourself. Who is Roderick Martin?" That's where it would be. And 1,000 times I answered that question. The answer is like a machine. Credits, investigation, books. I can wrote it off the top of my head. We've been taught this elevator pitch. All of us have. And I don't think about it when it runs. It's a program. I just know it. You know, it's like a recital. And that's the point of it, right? It runs so that I don't have to think about it. But this particular day, this particular day, it was a young lady, and the true thing came out. They didn't ask, well, how about this? They asked it a little differently. And I was confronted. And that was one of the things. And I was first for a minute, I'm like, oh, what are you trying to do? And so they was like, tell me about Roderick Martin. And then the girl said, no, no. Who are you really? And right there, I was like, whoa, this is the day the machine stopped. It wouldn't start. Everything I program and whatever, I couldn't even come. I was just sitting. I talk for a fucking living now, by the way. Suddenly I'm dead silence on a live interview call with Gaia. And fam, I'm telling you, I talk for a living. Y'all know this. And silence is not in my inventory. How many times I sit there and be telling y'all when they be pausing, I'll be like, hey, yeah, y'all got to keep talking. Right? But I caught my own answer in mid-launch. And I caught it in a way that all I'm saying is that this room, you're going to learn to catch thoughts like we talked about in the last show. And for the first time in my life, I looked at the answer before I said it. We talked that last night. It was a resume. I was about to hand the stranger a stack of paperwork, so to speak, and call it me. How many of us have done that? And behind the paperwork were me, where I was supposed to be standing. It was empty. It was nothing there. It was, who is right? Tell me who's Roderick Martin. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, okay, this yeah, I think is interesting. I think it's real interesting. So I was shocked. I wasn't embarrassed though. I was just shocked. And the way you shock, think about it. I was kind of shocked. Like you ever been in a room in the dark and the wall wasn't there? You know what I'm saying? It's completely dark, but you're trying to find, and it wasn't there. So it was kind of like that. It was like that, and those are one of the things. And you just kind of go there. Okay, so now I want you to hold on to that empty room for a minute, because at the end of the show tonight, so to speak, I'm going to show you that the room isn't empty at all. Remember, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. And something is in their room. It's there, and it's been there the whole dang on time. And the reason that you can't see it, because it's it's the crime. I'm calling it a crime that we're going to be solving together tonight. It was a crime. Some can say a crime on humanity. And that's where we're headed. And we'll keep going down there. But first, I had to do what I always do when something didn't sit right. I mean, because it's in me. So I was like, okay. And the same thing I will tell you, I investigated it. I started investigating. And that night, I laid out the evidence like any other thing I do. I'm a UFO investigator. We have protocol of how to investigate stuff. And here's the part that moved me, or I could say moved through this personal glitch pattern that I was going through. And it was like, and y'all know what I say about patterns. That is one of the things. I've said it the other day. I said it all last week. Patterns is everywhere. That's the whole thing. So when I started to inventory my file, and I'm using this as an example, this chart here, and some of you got resumes, and every year it just keeps updated. They tell you update your resume, and it's who you will tell somebody you are. And like I said before, the accomplishments and all of these things. I was on a dating app most recently, checking it out and used it as a marketing to build our poetry community too. And I started reading all these people that kept saying, "Oh, I'm educated. I did this," and I'm like, "Who want that? What are you talking about? Not that you can't be that, but this was what they were standing on of who they were in the profile of a dating app." And go do it for yourself. Just hook up on a dating app and start reading the countless people. I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm this, I'm blah, blah, blah. And it's just countless. Everybody's telling you from their experiences who they are, their name, what they do, what they've had. If they wasn't a mother because they didn't have no kids, then they don't have no kids. When they do have kids, I'm a mother and father. And it was like everywhere. I just want you to know. So when I started to inventory my file, not the TV file, not the systems file, follow me here. That's a record, right? That's a record of the second I was born. See, the same thing that you get. Remember when you was come in here, uh, we we go by TK for her, but she has a original name. She didn't choose that. She couldn't object to that. Some of y'all change your name now when you get old enough because it was given to you when you got here. You get what I'm saying? The second I was born, it was a time stamp. My birth certificate is sitting over there. It was certified. It was sealed. We talk about footprints, ink before I can even say, hell no, take my foot out of there. Okay? 9 digits was assigned to me that followed me to my freaking grave and past the grave, by the way. And all of us going through the same thing. Every school file, every address file, every job, every loan, every license, every flight, everything filed across references, retrievable in seconds, by the way. Hell, my face right now lives in databases I ain't never visited. My voice, I'm in 126 countries with this podcast on servers I can't even name. And I'm one of the most documented organisms in this part of UFOs world of this. And so are you. You are too. And your file will fill a fucking room. But in that room of paper, there's not one page, not one, that says what you are. Are y'all following along with me right now? Am I making sense right now? Because I told TK, I said, I'm gonna go in hard today. When she walked in his office, I said, I'm going hard today. Thought about this all last night. All last night. And so there's nothing that says, and I'm using the right language, what you are. If you keep hearing me. All right. Not one. Where you actually are from. What you were before the footprints is what we need to remember. You get where I'm going with this? The system that's time stamped you before birth, the minute that has nothing of your origin. None of that has nothing to do. When they brought wine and cut the cord and gave a name and gave us a social security number, that ain't had nothing to do where we came from. Nowhere. None. And I'm saying that the most documented beings ever to exist, and the first page is missing from every file. 8 billion people on this planet. The same page is gone. Now, I know somebody's typing it already. Roderick, that's just because nobody knows this stuff. Okay, I get it. Sit with that too. And then take the system, and be a little obsessive about it. We're talking about fingerprints, iris scans, DNA. Just shrug at the only field that matters if you want to. Every box on the form filled in except who. Now, I run enough investigations to know this, right? I know when one document is missing from a perfect file, it's not sloppiness. We watched enough crime stories. That's a procedure, a gap that was consistent in the record. Somebody built the filing system around the missing page. The paperwork isn't failing to answer who you are, so to speak. The paperwork is a replacement for the answer. And they didn't leave the file blank, fam. I'm just telling you. They filed it with a number. They filed it with a number, plain and simple. And so, what I want to tell you right now is where what I call my investigation, this investigation ends, because the size of where we're sitting in, right? You know what I'm saying? The trail I started, the night goes all the way back 1,600 years. The same jar that we opened last night, we talked about, and the buried book that doesn't call the missing page a mystery. It doesn't even call it philosophy. It calls it an operation, and it names the method in 3 words. And when I put them on the screen here in a few minutes, you'll get that. But I'm saying I'm trying to find myself. It's not what we need to be saying no more. You're not going to do that the same way again. That's all I'm saying. That is not going to be happening. And we're going to go there. Okay. So the other part of this, everything between now and then, is me showing you how I got there. Is what I'm going to do now. And because, again, on this channel, I don't want you to take my word. You take the trail. Your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. Y'all know that. But that first night, I didn't have a jar when I was realizing it. I didn't have a book at the time. I was thinking about the missing page and the investigator's itch. I'm like, okay, something is not right. So I did what you did, what everybody does. I went digging for the page. And then I started realizing there was 3, what I call evacuations, 3 different holes of my life, every place that tell you the answer is buried. And I came up with 3, what I would call 3 empty places 3 times. And of course, I blame my own shovel. And I'm saying the shovel is a metaphor of me. Oh, it was your fault. You didn't do this, and you're hard on yourself. And we've been through that. So y'all give a shout out to Garden Art for the super chat. Appreciate it. So if you dug these same 3 holes that I'm going to go over here in just a second, and if you got years in the church hole or the achievement hole or the find yourself industry hole, and then you came up empty and quietly decided the problem was you, then the next part tonight is for you specifically. I want you to know, because I'm about to prove that it was never you or your shovel, so to speak. You were just digging in a field that the same or that thing they was talking about was already gone. They already removed it. You can't evacuate something that was extracted a long time ago. You can't find it, fam. You're just not going to happen. And so I'm going to show you these 3 holes and what was sitting at the bottom of each one of them instead of the page. So I'm excited about telling you that, and we're going to go for that. So note takers are money makers, or whatever you want to call them, memory makers now. We're going to use that word. Note takers are memory makers. So we're going to go through what I call the first one. And let me see if I have something I'm just going to put on the screen. The first one we're going to go through is what I call the church hole. and just understand, just understand that we're not trying to talk about it anyway, but we're going to start there with what I call the church hole. Now, here's where most people go wrong. I dug this hole with both hands for years. Okay, for years. In fact, you know, so I earned the right to say what I'm about to say at the bottom of it. Okay, I just want you to know. And before anybody tenses up, I'm not attacking anybody's faith. Nowhere close tonight. I run a ministry. Yeah, y'all should know that now. But what I am actually pointing at is I want you to come with me right now. So we're going to paint a mental picture, theater of the mind. It's Sunday morning. Yeah, Lord, 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 whatever. You know the room. We all been in it. You know, if you've been in it, because there's a version of this in every neighborhood on earth. I had an aunt that came in from California. I remember I was a kid and I was in the back seat of the car. She said, "Ooh, Lord, y'all got a church on every corner here in Dallas." She was telling my mom, "If you go to hell in Dallas, it's your own fault." I was like, "What?" You know, I'm sitting here as a kid. Okay. We're talking about the wooden pews that they all had this shine. Like everybody been working on this shit for hundreds of years. And don't get me wrong, I had a small church. The fans in there growing, you know, not ceiling fans. Y'all know what I'm talking about, you know. And then I'll put this thing back on the screen because I did it on purpose. Think about your grandmother, you know, your grandmother's hat, 2 rows up. I had it. My grandmother had that big old hat, 2 rows up, 3 rows. You've seen it every Sunday. It was like a branch of octopus or something. It was huge. My grandmother's hat was like this big. Okay. And then there was a man at the front with the answers to the exact question. And this is where I've said this before, but anyway, the man up front with the two answers, the exact questions that's been eating you alive. Who are you? And he has a page. He has a page, family. He did. They all do. And that's the thing. You walk in carrying it. I'm metaphorically saying an empty file, and this man stands there and he says, "Please stand, everyone stand." And he says, "I want you to turn to the page of whatever, whatever, whatever." And he reads it to you. And this is who or what you are. This is where you came from, right? Because he's telling you, you came from this. You came from this two people in the ribs and rib shack or whatever. You get what I'm saying, right? We all been there searching for who we are. And this is where we're going to go. And then what do? You come in agreement. You sign there. You sign the land. You go, okay, here's my tithes or whatever. And I want you to feel what I felt because it was relief. Do you understand the relief I'm talking about? Years of silence in that room behind my eyes. And here's a page. It was printed. It was certified. An entire building of people co-signing that stuff every Sunday. Yeah, 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 yeah. And you'll take it too. And most of us did. Everybody did. And I took it with both hands. Shit, I'm sitting here. Don't just leave me by myself. Who else took it? Don't leave me by myself with this. Who else took it with two hands every Sunday too, in the search of who you are? I mean, come on, this is a breakthrough tonight. We're gonna break through. I know it just ain't me. It can't be. It was 8 billion people. But I want you to sit with that for a minute. I never got to read my own page. It got handed to me, pre-written, right off the bat. And the same page as that same man that was next to me. You got to remember, everybody in the church was getting the same dose of information, the same page. 8 billion missing pages in this building, hands out one copy every Sunday. And they still doing it, people. And at any time I asked a question that wasn't on the photocopy, how many of y'all done that? How many of y'all question the pastor or somebody in the church? How many have done it? Anytime I asked that question that wasn't on that thing that they were doing, where exactly did I come from before? Let me tell you what the answers was and what I was before the footprints. I'm going to tell you what it is, and I'm going to try to put my little voice together for you because this is the way I hear it all the time. I was questioning when I was a kid. Okay. The answer was a mystery. Or they go like this. It was a mystery, baby. Have faith. You know what I'm saying? I get that. I was getting it every time. Stop digging. Stop searching. You're in the right house. You're in the house of the Lord. Am I by myself? You know what I'm saying? I remember my grandmother's voice. Then it turned into my mom's voice because I was still asking the questions from when I was 4 all the way till I was 12 until I hit the streets. And it's a mystery, baby. You know, have faith, baby. You get what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not ridiculing anyone's religion today. I'm not doing your faith. I'm not saying this. It's not what I'm talking about. Because I got 2 more rooms too, not just that one. But I will tell you, when I started thinking about it, this was the deal. The page wasn't lost, people. It was replaced. Somebody deliberately replaced it. And stop digging. You heard that before. The last show, we talked about the desk, the counterfeit voice that came. Remember, it came in and was telling me to stop investigating. See, now all this stuff now I'm recognizing from then and now. It was been here all this time. Different room, same instructions though. Stop investigating, stop digging. But I'm just going to sit that down right here for a second. I just want to sit that down. So if you're with me, put it in the pad, in the chat. So if you gave years to that room, and if you memorized what I call the photocopy, the scriptures or whatever, and still woke up in the morning at 2 a.m. homesick in your own life, and then felt guilty about the homesick on top of it, like the pain was a failure of faith, right? Hear me. I'm telling you. Come on, I'm not making this up. There are some people in here who was going to this room all the time and still felt that they did not belong here and still were going there. And you start thinking, maybe I can't receive the faith right. I mean, come on. Look, I may as well talk to church with you. Come on, somebody. You get what I'm saying. You didn't fail in that room. I'm just letting you know. The room just didn't have your page. It couldn't. It was no way. It was no way. Your page was pulled before you was even in that building, before the building was built. Who you were, what you were was already taken away. And later, this evening, the book proves that, and it has a timeline. I'm going to tell you what it said because the book is older than the church, older than the photocopies. And I want you to know that. So we're going to go with. So clue number 1, I just wanted to tell you is whoever pulls a page and leaves a substitute isn't careless. That's what we call coverage. That's an operation. It's maintaining itself. And I'm just saying to you that it is where it's supposed to be. Okay. Jordan Maxwell once said that people that was going to church, he said they got us praying in the wrong direction. Now I understand what he was talking about. He said they have us praying this way and they're doing it that way. We're talking about the elites and secret societies and people of knowledge. But they got the masses for control praying that way. They got us praying and getting obedience from something on the outside, while they're taking their information from the inside of who they are and what's going on. So I want you to look at that. The whole, um, the whole thing, and understand the whole congregation is in there. So the room had a photocopy. Everybody had it, man. Everybody. So I was like, fine, okay. I said, I'll write the page myself. Shit. And family, if you thought the hole was one deep, now I'm going to take you down another one now. Because I'm going to bring it to you tonight. Today, I'm doing it right now. We're just scratching the surface. We got a long way to go a little bit here. I'm taking it to you all week. And this next hole that I dug was so deep, I nearly buried my freaking self inside of this bad boy. And this is the one that's going to hurt some of you, okay? Because this is the respectable hole. No one warns you about this one because everybody's proud of it while you're digging it yourself too. Everybody, they're going to protect this one. They're going to protect it 100%. And it's very interesting. And I said it already a little bit. I authored it. I make the answer to who you are, so to speak. And that answer is so loud it can't be questioned. So I want you to watch the logic here. And if it's airtight where we're going to go, because it's what we call identity is built, right? That's what they tell you. So you build, and so I built Roderick. That's what I did. And remember last year or a year and a half ago, I was a lot bigger, a little bigger, and I'm still, big for my age and still cute. Love me some me. And but I made a declaration on this YouTube channel, and I'm gonna see if I can play it for you on the screen because this was when I was start making a change, and I did it on purpose. And let me see if I can find it on our channel. And like I said, it was last year, a year or so ago, or something. I'm just gonna look real quickly. Just bear with me because it's worth showing. And this is where it all began. And I made this specific little video because I wanted people to see it. And I did it myself because I could. Yeah. Let me just see if I can find it real quick. If I can't, then we're just going to move on behind it. But because I want to show it to you, I'm going to look harder. And the fact that I don't see it anymore is even crazier. So I think I need to go into the back office of YouTube because maybe that I turned it off. But y'all get what I'm saying, though, right? It's very interesting of what we're talking about. And I got another one right after this is that I think we are going to sit here and be like, dang, that was me too. And I went through this and went through that. So let me see if I find this video. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I unlisted it. That's why we can't find it. And I should have just left it there. But I'm going to click on it and see if I can play it for you. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to see if I can share this video, and I want y'all to pay attention to me and tell me what you think after. This is when this started happening almost a year ago. And this is when I made the thing. So I'm going to share this video. Let me close this one out and let me see here so I can share the screen. There we go. All right, so I'm going to play it for y'all. So let's go. It says share. Y'all let me know. You see that on the screen yet over there? You'll see a face of me. You got a little second delay, but all right. So I'm going to play it for y'all. Listen to it closely, okay? There's a lot of people that approach me and say, well, hi, what is your name? What do you do? And they expect for me to say, my name is Roderick Martin.
Oh, why not?
And I usually blow them away or they think I'm crazy when I give them the actual response that I am infinite consciousness awareness.
Are you crazy?
Living the physical reality. I'm having the experience of Roderick Martin, the YouTuber, the UFO investigator, the TV personality.
I'm telling you, he is crazy.
If many of you watched the podcast before, you'll know that I have been saying I'm changing my reality or my physical reality.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, what?
Changing my reality or my physical reality. I am changing the physical reality of how you see me. You may come back a year from now and the new physical reality that I have changed and altered so that you will perceive will be a different version of myself.
That is bullshit, crazy eight.
And therefore, which I access in the infinite consciousness and also within my mind.
It's confusing. I get it, okay?
With us all being one consciousness, I'm having my mind to be the servant to aid me in the altering of this new construct or the new physical reality that you will see a year from now.
Damn, that is one effective counterspell.
So there's a lot of people. All right. So what do y'all think about that? That was my, yeah. So what do y'all think? I did that a year ago when I started on this journey. Give me some feedback if y'all was able to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I did this a year ago, and when I started on this, and I can look back on it from my conversation, from my mind, from how I see the world and the knowledge. All of that has changed, and even You know, you can look there. I lost a few pounds and stuff there too. You know, and wait till you see me next year. You'll get what I'm saying. So it was one of those things that you look at it. So I built Roderick is at that time back then, and I built it. And I'm saying you can come and stand my desk in those years. You'll see every credit. You saw sentence. You saw things. You saw books. You saw appearances. You saw the name, the recognition. I was writing, okay, my missing page in the biggest font this world offers. You get what I'm saying? And every accomplishment was was about, again, 72 hours work. Think about it. Everything that I talk about, you know, and I can hold the new thing and feel it full. And there it was. That's who I am. That's what I was doing back then. And the page is complete. And then you already know because you live the same thing yourself, the same situation. hours later, I'll look down at the same page that we all done it. The ink done faded away. We're talking metaphorically. And again, the empty room again. And the machine in me said the only thing that the machine knows how to say, write more, bigger credit, maybe, a new book, maybe, a louder page. Let's just keep going down this. You get what I'm saying? But here's the part that shocked me the most. When I finally caught it, I want you to slow down with me because this is one of the most important 30 seconds of today. One of them. The ink always faded every time, no exceptions in the last 30 whatever plus years. And I had always read that as the ink, you know, oh, maybe it's the ink's fault. I'm just using this. Wrong accomplishment, not big enough. The next one would hold, maybe. But an investigator doesn't blame the ink out the forfeit of these pages here. An investigator asks, what keeps erasing these pages? And because that's not decay, man, like that's decay. If you start thinking about decay is something like passive. This was maintenance. Something was wiping the page as fast as I could write it. Something didn't want me to remember. Always gave me something new in my mind. Maybe it was a new challenge. Maybe it was something else to every time I got on track to go down the road, some distraction would show up. Something didn't want me to remember. The same thing for you, by the way. So the forgetting is a service. It's ongoing. It's active. Subscribe. Okay. How about that? Somebody got, you know, got a man on it, right? Do you hear me? You get what I'm saying? Somebody, y'all got something on it right now. I just want you to know. And you, with your promotions that felt like nothing like by Monday, remember your degree on the wall. Some people got more degrees than a fucking thermometer, and they still searching for who they are or what they are, so to speak. So your degree on the wall don't even, you know, you can't even see it anymore. Some people just walk by the house, the cars. Some of you, the body you built, the wedding that was supposed to finally make you feel like somebody. Come on with me. I'm taking us somewhere today. And the pain kept coming back anyway. And you concluded maybe you were ungrateful. Somebody's going to tell you, oh, you broken. Oh, you never satisfied. Fam, that's not what it's all about. You were never ungrateful. You were writing on a page that someone else was actively erasing. And we can even call it the Mandela effect if we wanted to. This stuff is big, huge. And that's not a character flaw. It's not a character flaw. That's sabotage. And you can't write it out like a wipe. Nobody can. Remember, that's the case. So we're going to dismiss that tonight. We're going to say this publicly to yourself that that's not what's going to happen anymore. That's a done deal. And we can honestly say, I think I have my little slide that I was going to put on the screen, that erasing is ongoing. So you all these achievements that you see up here for me, my book, best on them. And by the way, you can buy the book though. But the whole point is that shit means nothing. I ain't taking it with me. All it's going to do is reset some shit for me to come back in the same thing. But the thing about it, I'm not coming back. I already know that. I've been told that. And I've told you this story too before I move on to the next one. The third clue or the second clue is that I was told 4 times, even when Yaya came down here, and you know, that was the 4th or 5th time, that, hey, you got an old soul, you've been here. She was reading my hands, some other people out of the blue I was meeting, they was pulling these cards. And that was me sending a message to me to go look for my way out. Otherwise, I would never been alerted for it. And the higher self, if you want to call it, whatever it was, kept telling me, you gotta not come back here. And then I started finding out why. And I can tell you today, I got enough information that I'm not coming back here. You get what I'm saying? So I achieved something. And a lot of you have been talking with yourself, sending messages back, whatever it is, and it's been ignored because you're not hearing it. You're not seeing it. You're not, that's a whole nother damn show, period. We might just do that next week and just say, open your ears. That'll be the name of the show. So the erasing is ongoing, and I want you to know. So I want you to look at the next clue that I'm getting ready to talk. This is probably the best one for me because it's replaced and it's maintained. This isn't an old crime that we're investigating. Remember, I'm calling this a crime. And it's running right now in this room tonight. And it will, and it ran why I just said what I said just now. So if you are still with me and following along, I want you to type 2 if you know the fading ink that I was just talking about. If you got all of that put together. Every high achiever in this chat just went quiet. Probably they're like, oh, you know who I'm talking about. Y'all know you got we're in this together. We in this together. You get what I'm saying? So I couldn't be handed the page. They didn't want to do that. I had to write it. So we go. So anyway, we're gonna move on from there. Let me check my chats here because I know all of y'all are here. Thank you for the twos and people listening. So one move left. We're going to talk about this one. This is a move that the whole economy was waiting for me to make. I just want you to know it. And I tried to buy it, people. I bought it. I'm not going to lie to you. And this is going to be, again, us admitting things to each other as we do this. This particular, where we're going to go with this one, I want to call this the industry hold, HOLE. Here's where it gets dangerous because the whole 1 and 2 that I just was talking about, the church and then the achievement, at least these people believe, you have people believing in them, you know what I'm saying? But this one, hole 3 that we're going to get into, the only hole with what I call a cash register connected to it at the end in the bottom. And I walked in this shit with my credit card. I walked into it with my briefcase. I walked into it with my money. I walked into it borrowing money from somebody. I did it. I walked into it. And it wasn't no eyes closed either. I walked in a bushy eyed and bubbly. See, they find you. You can. Well, how can I call it? Me and Brother Yosef was talking about this yesterday. The find yourself industry is what I call it. Now, I want you to walk down the aisle with me on this. I mean, you've been here. You've been in this particular store. You've been in the store. We're talking about the retreats, the personal test, answer the 40 questions in a letter combination to tell you who and what you are. The life coaches coaching from the inside of their own empty ass rooms. The seminars. Remember, I told you about the man in the headset who promised to locate your soul by Sunday. Remember, I told you about. Hell, go to church now. It's a freaking seminar. It's cameras. It's this and big screens and music and people coming out on ropes and echoes and voices from the back and everything. I'm telling. And then by Sunday, you will have your soul found from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that costs you a lot. Continental breakfast included in some of these places. You got apps. You got quizzes. Which type are you? Take this master class over here. Unlock your true self over here for $4.97. Payment plan available. I did the circuit. Family, I did it. I'm not above any of this. I'm telling you this. I did it. I had journal prompts. I got journal books sitting over there. I bought them. I buy them all. And they all got empty ass pages for you to write some shit you don't even know. Empty. They sold me some empty pages. Had a few words on them. How many else got journals? Real talk. Some of it had real pieces in it, though. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not saying all of it was whatever. You get what I'm saying. I'm not calling every teacher a fraud because that's not what I'm saying at all. There are some good ones out there, and some of those rooms held genuine medicine for others' wounds. Some of these things too. I know Brother Osum and Yaya, a lot of these people, and the list goes on and on. These are good people. These are good people. Okay, these are good people. But we got some old heads out there. Y'all know who we are, who they are, not we, but who they are. You know, some of them old heads out there been around this thing a long time, and they ain't giving nobody nothing, so to speak. Nobody in that room had it. Let me put it on the screen for you. We're talking again what I call the industry whole. They lied, people. Nobody in that room. And then one afternoon, and I remember in the middle of one of those seminars, I'll never forget. In the middle of that freaking seminar, 100%, 100%. The investigator in me stood up. The investigator in me stood up inside and looked around that room, and I really looked around that room. I looked around that room. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And hang on. Uh, so and let me put it this way. Let me make sure I put it the right way, so to speak, because it's important that this goes down the way it goes. Okay. Um, and let me make sure I put this back on the screen for you because it's important. It's important that we understand that my camera thing is here. Make sure it's connected here so I can see myself. Um, so I stood up in the investigation. The investigator, you know, came out of me. I stood up in that room. I looked around. And I really looked, and I was looking at the way I look at cases, and then I saw it. This is a shovel store. And I'm using metaphors tonight because I can use other words. Nobody in here is selling pages. They're selling shovels. A shovel store has one commercial requirement. And say it with me if you see it coming. The store needs you digging. They need you digging forever. Think about it. Who sells that stuff, right? And a found page is a lost customer. I think we were just talking about that the other night. It was like, why would they fix something? You know, we have these, you know, like a dating app. You know, we think the dating app is going to find us the person that we're looking for. But if they did that, they'll go out of business. So they keep sending you all of these choices and options and over. And the next you're somebody as good as the next profile. And you're like a kid in a store. You're in the store and like, oh, here's another. Oh, he got this. Oh, she got that. Oh, I'm this. But read the profiles. I promise you, read the profiles. They all gonna be, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. And one of them stood out to me. I was just laughing at all of the things that they was put in front and then saying, and after that, the girl was like, and so now you can get to know me. No, I already know that's a problem. That's a whole nother story. But don't get me wrong. Shit, some years ago, I would have jumped all over that. I'm like, oh, I like whatever. Now it's a headache. You just don't want to deal with that. That's what I'm saying. And forever, I found once again what was happening in this industry. If you think about it, is worth billions would it be. And this entire business model is the page is missing. The who or what you are is missing. And I'm not saying that every coach knows that. Most are diggers themselves. I'm listening, you know, selling shovels to fund their own hole. But zoom out of the structure and you'll know I always make you zoom out. I always tell you, eyes are useless when your mind is blind. So an economy that size doesn't grow around a problem that is solvable retail. They're not doing that. It grows around a womb that's guaranteed. 8 billion people. Every time a new one comes into this world, they got a new customer at some point. They just need to stay in business. Okay. And by the fact that every customer walks in it pre-empty, they all do. Everything was happening at the same time to everybody. This industry did not make the pain. It found the pain in Universal and pre-installed. It was already pre-installed, everything. They already knew. These people have figured it out. They have studied this human. They know. They may not know that, but they know us and you and me. They know it. And we're talking about some of them, they built the mall on top of it. And you got to remember, the lack came first. Somebody manufactured the lack. Remember, David Icke talks about problem, reaction, solution. That is the methodology of it all. So the lack came first. And we can talk about the material world, the upside down symbolism. We can get into, us being inverted to where we start thinking about lack was a thing. Do you know that while we search for peace, that you are peace? If you will just look within yourself, you are peace. That's what you are. We don't have to go, oh, I'm finding my peace. How many people say that? You are peace. That's a whole nother show. We're going to do that one too. I'm telling you, I've been on a journey. I've been on a journey because I ain't coming back. I've been on a journey. I'm not coming back. But I better leave you something to remember me by. That's for sure. Whatever, now 10 years from now or whatever. And if I decide to be incarnated, not reincarnated, because I want to come back and fight, I'm going to leave clues to find my old self on videos and books in different places because I live forever. Biomechanical immortality this way. I can live forever. Okay. So once again, I know that blew over some people's head when I said that. That's okay. The lack came first. Somebody manufactured, like I said, then the markets moved around. This or that's a different show, by the way. We'll talk about the lack too. Okay. The manufacturer lack, who sells the whole itself. That's a whole nother. That's its own night shit. We'll write that one down. But it's coming. It's gonna come soon. And so we can't go there tonight, but today we're going to stay on what we're talking about because I really get passionate about that. But if you spent real money in that store, if there's a stack of half-finished workbooks in your closet, a folder of certificates from programs that promise you yourself, I'm not laughing at you. I'm in the photo with you. I've got them. I'm telling you, I got them. You weren't gullible. You were thirsty. You were thirsty. Okay. And somebody sold you a pitcher of water. Okay. And let me give you an example metaphorically. Oh, let's put this here. Appreciate it, Robert. There's a lot of grifters out there. It's easy to fall for when you're searching for truth. Yeah, it really is. Thank you. I appreciate it. And listen to me. I'm going to use this. I'm going to give you a story a little bit first, but I'll wait. I'm going to come back with that. But just understand, you were thirsty. And then quite naturally, you're going to drink the water. Who didn't? Okay. The thirst was real. The thirst was evidence. You just, or we just, I would say, we couldn't buy it retail. It was taken wholesale. Somebody had already took it. When we were trying to pay retail for something they already took. Nobody out there has it. Or what I say, nobody there has it anyway. None of these people. And so I'll put this on the screen here for that. None of these people have it. It's not out there. And so the third clue I want to give you is I'm going to put it on the screen, all three, out loud. I'm going to put it up here. I need to find my thing. I wrote it out for you. So we're going to go through one in particular here. And I would say there are 3 holes, years. Remember I told you about the photocopy room, the fading ink, the metaphor for that, the shovel store, and me blaming my faith at the time, my drive at the time, my judgment. Man, that was a wrong defendant, people. 3 times, same as always. Now I want you to watch what I'm gonna be putting on the screen here in a minute, and what we're gonna go down. I'm gonna give you 3 clues that look, 3 failures that are about to become one sentence in a few minutes. And one of the things about it was all replaced. Like I said, that's the coverage. Erasing is ongoing. That's maintenance, and nobody out there, okay, has it. Which means, follow me on this. This is the turn. It's never out there. You can't find it in a building. You can't write it in achievements. You can't buy it in a store because it was never lost in the world. Y'all with me where I'm going with this? It was never lost in the world. It was taking from in here. It was taking from in here. You with me? Your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. The page isn't missing from your file, fam. The page is missing from your memory. This is what is happening right now. And I can go all the way back to the first moment. You remember something. You do. You're trying to. It's like, what's that word? Deja vu. Everybody has it. Like, damn, where have I seen this before? How many people said that one? Where have I seen this before? Or what is this? Think about it. And then start investigating. Where you seen this shit before? The file was just where we all went looking, because whoever running the operation pointed us at that area. It was like, go look over there. Remember Jordan Maxwell said they got us praying over there. So they start telling us, go dig over there. Go find the Lord over there. Go find this over here. Go find. How many times they said you need to find Jesus? Was he lost? Was he lost? That was my point. But you on a journey looking for Jesus. I was reading in the dating profile the other day. The girl kept all of them, not one, many of them. I need a man that's on the search for Jesus. What the fuck? The blind can't lead the blind. And they're looking for a leader. But he needs to go, he needs to have founded Jesus. I'm like, wow. And get me wrong. Some years ago, it would have just been sitting in front of me as plain as day and not a message of warning. Not a message of warning. That's all I'm saying. I'm just using it. I'm just telling you. That's all I'm saying. Y'all with me? Am I boring y'all right now? You know what I'm saying? Am I boring y'all? Because I'm just starting to tell y'all about my journeys this week. I woke up last few days back and said, just stop trying to just create this content. Just be authentic with people. You got enough in you. You don't need to make this shit up. You can talk about it. You can read the books. I used to read a book a week, every week. Some years back, I was reading a book every week. For what? For what? To say I'm smart? Hell no. The more you think you don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how I figured it out now. I don't know nothing. I'm still trying to get somewhere. So anyway, because whoever runs that operation I was talking about, they got to dig over there, dig anywhere, dig forever. Just don't look within yourself. You hear me? That was my punchline. None of them, I'm saying not people that you're meeting that's authentic, but everything on a circular world don't tell you to look within you. And I told you about the question mark, right? The question mark is an ancient symbol left by our ancestor. It's a path like this with the Bindu. The Bindu is right here, you, which could be third eye, whatever you want to call it. But the ancients left us that path and said the answer is within you. Then the other people said, whoa, whoa, whoa. We need to create word magic and spells, and then we're going to put it at the end because it has power. So now we ask the question outward instead of inward. I know I'm just talking to you right now. I know it's Tuesday and 2 days after Sunday. Some of you still got church rubbed on you. You need to wash it off a little bit. But I know. I'm just telling you. I'm just putting it out there. That isn't what I was trying to do. But at the moment, I said it this way: memory, not paperwork. So the whole case turned over. because I'm an investigator, right? You know, and not let me claim it as identity, but as a tool to what I do. Okay. I know how to investigate. How about that? That's a new way to say it, right? Because now the question is, where is my page? Isn't where my page? I'm not looking for that. That shit died. And it's going to die for you tonight. The question is, in investigators, what takes a memory? Not one man's memory. I mean, we're not talking about that. Don't shrink it. What takes the same memory from every human being in every generation on every continent and keeps it going and maintains this thing for all of recorded history? What does that? And do you think it's human? Oh, I shouldn't even say that. I done messed up the whole outline. I don't told them now. They not told them, but then I'm scaring some people. They think it's human. You know what I'm saying? You're having a human experience. You're not even human is what I've been trying to tell you tonight. They're playing a whole different game. Stop playing a human game with these other stuff here. And we get on a whole nother level and we fight a different way of recognition and having what I call conscious and aware. And let me give you an example. I didn't even posted these shirts yet. I'm gonna put them back up. But this is a theory that I had. Let me see. Is that bag over there with some shirts in it for me? PK? No, it may be right here. Or if not, man, I hate to get you to moving around. See if it's in this bag. Let me just have that. Let me see. Okay. No. Yeah. No. Yeah, they are. Okay. So, long time ago, when I started on this journey, I think I got one here. So, when I started on this journey, long time ago, something kept telling me we need to think of a few things. So, and I don't even sell these shirts to y'all. I wore it every now and then. I think I tried to mention it, but I wasn't where I'm at mentally now. But I was like, okay. So this one I had made for Truth versus Authority. And it says conscious aware. This is what we have to be. Because you are all there is, was, and ever shall be. That's who you are. Okay. And so you can't find these on the website because I didn't put them there. The website is being rebuilt long for 2 months now. And I was making them. Then I just started wearing it myself. It's a solo act. Yeah, ain't nobody got these. I wear them myself. And so, and I made some extra big ones for myself. This was another version of it, conscious aware, truth versus authority, because you all there is, has been, and ever shall be. This was being done on a journey, which makes more sense. And it's like I was doing it in ahead of time, knowing what I was going to do here. It's kind of weird. And I'm going to tell you something else in a little bit. I want you to focus on this owl. This is how I know I've been here and know that the plan was there, because everything that I'm starting to do, I've already built and have inserted things to give me the notion that I'm on the right track. It's like breadcrumbs to yourself. And I'm going to give you the biggest one ever in a little bit. Okay. So for me, so to speak. So that's not a condition, is what I'm trying to say. Your conditions vary. This doesn't vary. That's not a flaw. Flaws are random. Never forget that. This is a uniform. A uniform, it maintains species wide removal, a species wide memory removal. I'm calling it like I see it. And this is a word for that. Okay. Remember I said you got to name everything. So I'm going to put it on the screen in a minute and we're going to give it a word, because a name is a claim. You got to remember that. And you know the rules that I've been telling you right now. I'm going to open, when we start doing our book club and all that, from that jar. I'm going to show you about those 1600 years. Somebody didn't just suspect this operation. Somehow they knew. They knew. They wrote down how it's administered. And when you hear the method, when you hear what the book says that they gave us to keep the memory gone, I promise you. First, I'm going to give you my Shaka Zulu quote. Nothing will be as it was ever again. But some of you are going to look at your own daily life and go cold. So don't move in a minute. Don't move, because I will talk about a few things here, because now it's time for you to give you what you came here for. Okay. In the meantime, I want you to know, if you are here in Dallas, I got to put it up on the website, but let me see if I have something I can do right now for us and for you. Why is my screen is not working? Okay, so let's do this. So I'm going to, oh, there we go. It was just me. Something else is missing on my wheelhouse here. I don't know what it is. Maybe it just wants to be. And maybe not. All right, so I had a particular thing I wanted to show you. Okay, so let me continue here in a minute. And I'm not for sure why this is malfunctioning right now. And it shouldn't be. Maybe I am, yeah, I'm missing the wrong thing. But anyway, August the 1st, we're going to have our annual, first annual community thing here in Dallas. I got to put it on the website so you can register free because we just want to know how much food we're going to need for you to eat. And get off your diet that day. Just come chill. Okay. No judgment. Eat some whatever. You want to eat some beef and something. And we might even just hold TK down and put some piece of meat right in her nose or teeth or something. You know, I don't know. But the whole thing is, it's where we begin and where we start. It's been a whole year. And I tell you, we have been through some sugar honey iced tea, and we're still here. There are people out there that was hoping we fail. That's a whole nother story. So anyway, before I write anything on this, or put when I say write on the screen here in a few minutes, I want to use my board so bad over there. So you remember I took you somewhere the last show. I took you into my bedroom at 3 a.m. And tonight I need to take you somewhere else. So we're going to do another mind exercise. And if you're driving, don't close your eyes. Okay? Don't close your eyes. I don't need you to do that. But I want you to, and just hold a chat for a minute. I want you to go back somewhere. I'm gonna do what I call theater of the mind here, not a memory. Okay, just follow along with me. Everybody needs to, because if you want to get to this memory, we got to go here together. And we're talking about before memories. Listen to where I'm going to take you. I want you to go back down the staircase in your life. I did this on a board once before and was telling you how you can't go up it. But this time we're going to go back down. I want you to visualize the staircase of your life. Go back down of your life. There's a staircase. We're going to go past last year. Let's go past that. We're going to go back down past the job that you have. I want you to feel how different that person was. I want you to go back because we need to go somewhere here. I want you to, well, how about, or how sure are you about, you know, where you were wrong? I just kind of go with that for a minute, but I want you to keep going. I want you to go past when you were 16 years old. We know we did a lot of stuff there. Go past the playground. Remember being in the playground. You can remember because I'm bringing that up in your mind right now. I want you to go past your first day of school. Let me know y'all with me. Because you can almost smell the hallway. You know, you can almost, I can remember the first, because it was a trauma experience getting dropped off at school for the first time. Y'all with me? Pass your first word. And I want you to keep going down to your first birthday. Listen to me, follow with me. Your first winter, your first day. Now, I want you to go one more step down, just one more. And I want you to ask yourself, what's there? And I don't want you to answer this fast. I need you to actually look. You just walked down the stairs of your entire life, the staircase, and you went to the bottom. There's a door there. And behind that door is where you came from. And that door is blank. I guarantee you, because it's not dark, it's blank. It's dark will be something else. Because we know from darkness came light. So you would rather for it to be dark. It's blank. And like a movie, you get what I'm saying? It opens mid-scene. It comes in when you jumped up in this side. And like a book with the first chapter, like it was just razored out. You can see the stub on the pages, right? Fam, right? You with me? You can feel that something was there. That's the homesickness, what we named at the top of the show tonight. That's you standing at the bottom of those stairs, hand on a door that doesn't open, but absolutely there's a home on the other side of that bad boy. Because every human who ever lived has stood at that exact door. 8 billion staircases, same blank, same stub torn out. And I want you to open your eyes. And remember, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. Never forget that. Because somehow these folks have took that away from us. And what you are, not what you is here doing this. You get what I'm saying? So let's close this case the way I close every other case. We're going to do it out loud. We're going to talk about the evidence in order. We're going to, so you can check everything we're talking about. We establish this, and we're going to keep going down this investigation style all this week and so. And the most documented species, I'm using that word in history, every file completed except who? We established a gap in the uniform, not culture, not 1 century, everybody always. In fact, we established and maintained the ink to it faded. The pages reblanked. The service runs daily. We establish it and replace. In fact, the photocopies, I'm using it and hand it out like a whole. It never gets inspected. Nobody asked about. No one sits here and challenge the fact of who and what you were or who you are. I do this all the time. People with kids, it's a joke. They'll be standing in front of me with their kids, and I'm going to show mom, yeah. And I asked the kid, who told you that? How do you know they didn't lie to you? Ask the kid, somebody else's kid, when you meet some little kids, and I'm going to, it's your mom, yeah. Like, who told you that? And the kid is going to say this. She did. She told me I was her mom. Like, sure. Was it the biggest lie you ever been told? They don't know. The kids didn't know. But some of these kids look at you and be like, I don't know who the hell you are. Y'all have had to look. Some of them just wake up like, who are you? How did I even get here? But just ask other people's kids when they sit there, and the kid is going to be honest at that age. They're going to be honest and say, really, I don't know. She told me she was my mama. And I'm like, well, why do you believe that? I do the second question. The kid be like, damn, I've been wondering that myself. I just can't. I'm not old enough to say it. You know what I'm saying? Just watch what happens. It's a real, true life experiment. Just do it. You can do it tonight, tomorrow, whenever, and you watch the answer that you get from those kids. And like I said, it's got to be somebody else's, because they're going to feel encouraged right there, because you're opening up a door that they've been asking that they can't say to their mama or dad or whatever. But just watch what happens. I'm telling you. I do it all the time. I just did it to some people who use their porch tonight. They remember. I just did it. Like, who told you that? You know what I'm saying? And then you will understand that these kids are intelligent until we wipe them out. We finish the completion. So say what it is. Not what's polite nowadays. Not physiological. We're not doing it. What the evidence says. Not the uniform, the maintenance, the species-wide removal of the same memory from every mind ever born. Nobody knows where this was. And fam, I'm telling you, I found any other crime with the signature, the same thing. And every house in Dallas was missing the same thing. I'm talking about it, right? Every computer on earth, the same file deleted, the same file name, the same timestamp. The refresh daily. There is not an investigator alive who would call that an accident. This isn't a jury alive who would call it a condition. You know what we call it? We call it what it is, an operation. Deliberate, administered, old and ancient, by the way. And here's the thing about the operation that took me the longest to accept. And the thing that the counterfeit voice, remember we was talking about that yesterday. If you hadn't, the link is in the description. Go check it out. It's a counterfeit voice. And I say this, and I noticed it, that the operation's greatest achievement isn't the wipe itself. It is that we never reported the crime. And I want you to think about that. It's a crime shame of what happens, okay? So let me just break it down. This is my humor kicking in. See, it was the perfect theft. You steal somebody's car, the fucker called the police. You steal his wallet, he cancel the credit card. Somebody steal your wallet, you're gonna cancel the credit cards tomorrow. But you steal his memory of what he is, he doesn't call anybody. You haven't called nobody right now if they stole your memory. None of us have. Because he doesn't remember owning what was taken. He walked right past the empty lot every morning and never once asked what used to be parked there. I'm using that as a metaphor. We do it. All of us do it. He'll just feel a little homesick. You're going to feel that I had something. Or I'm going to feel that something is not right. But we ain't going to call in the crime. Hell, they got us focusing, and I'm just talking about us, on 40 acres and a fucking mule. And where I came from, I didn't need it. Maybe that would just kind of throw it off. But okay. It's out there now. Can't take it back. And we're talking about buying the shovels. We're talking about the photocopies. We're talking about louder ink. And I'm saying he'll pay good money his whole life to manage the symptoms of the robbery, the person. And it was engineered not to remember. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Sugar, honey, iced tea. Thank you, Melissa. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Nothing would be as it was ever again, people. I'm going to see to that. If you listening to me for these next months to come, nothing. Next years to come, whatever. I'm here. We're going to be here. So that's you. That's me. The stuff I was just talking about. We're all paid this stuff. That's every face in this chat, every face that ever lived. Victims of the only crime in history where the evidence is gone. Right? And the witnesses are everywhere. And the reports are filed or zero. There are so many people walking around that don't remember. That is the goal now, is to get out on the street. And I got all these questions, and I was going to get with TK and the rest. We need to start going to ask people they remember some shit. We have to do that. And tonight, we're going to file our own report tonight in the Cosmos. And every report needs a crime named at the top. So you got to have a name for it. I'm going to give you a name, and it needs a name, okay? You need to know it by law by now, so to speak. The room taught it to me, and I'm going to, the book confirmed it as well. Okay, I'm going to do that for you. It's whatever operates on an unnamed operates unopposed. You remember when I said that? If it don't have a name, it can go about its business and do everything that it want to do. You got to name it. This thing has run unnamed through every generation of your bloodline, period. Your mother stood at the blank door. Her mother stood at the blank door. All the way back to nobody had a name for the door. And all of that going to end tonight. This is what I said. Nothing would be as it was ever again. And I want you to write it with me in just a few minutes. I'm just going to put it up there because we got to give it a name. We got to give it a name. And let me know if you're ready for the name. That's what I want to know. You've been here all this time. Let me know if you're ready for the name, because you got to name it. And it ain't got to be abracadabra, savicious, avadosha, kalosha. There ain't none of that. But it has to have a name. And I'm going to give you a name. I'll put it on the screen. I think I have a name for it. I can't get to it. Somehow my screen is not working. Wow. I don't know. I had an image I want to give y'all, but it is not. Let me just see. Let's do this. Let's pop it open there. Boom. That's working. That's working. All right. Well, I'm just going to tell it to y'all. I can't click down into the thing here. Only one person want to know the name. Just one person. Only one person want to know. That's all it takes, though. We're here to just that one starfish. You know, it matters to the one person. That's all. I'm not going to play what I learned from Star Trek. Star Trek said the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, but not this case. If you just want to know, you that one person want to know, I'm going to tell you, because we don't worry about it. The name that we're going to call this, and I want you to write this in your mind, sear it in, we're going to call it the memory wipe. The memory wipe, not memory loss. Loss is passive. Loss is nobody's fault. We're all, we're far past nobody's fault. We're done that. We ain't judging nobody no more. We're talking about a wipe. A wipe has like a hand on a cloth. A wipe is an administration thing. Wipe is like a policy. We got to give it the right name. Okay. And I want you to think about it. Just think about it. A memory wipe. Your whole life you call it. You've been trying to find myself. This is what you have been saying. I was saying. And look what it actually was. 3 words that I just gave you. You weren't lost, fam. You wasn't lost. You were white in everything. That blank door, the fading ink, the homesickness, the shovel stores, the photocopies, every exhibit on this show that we've been talking about tonight is downstream of those 3 words. Memory wipe. Okay. It feels different. You should feel it now. It should change a little bit. It doesn't, you don't have to feel that I can't find myself anymore. That sentence points to a finger at you. But the memory was white. That sentence opens up the whole thing because now you start looking. Because when you blame you, you don't want to look. And it's the way it's designed. Who wants to go incriminate themselves? But the memory wipe gets you to go buy some new books, maybe watch some more videos, maybe type in some questions. You may even ask ChatGPT what the memory wipe. I don't even know. You just might go look. But that's what I mean by that. Because every one of you is asking the same 2 questions right now. And I know what you're asking because I'm going to put it up. I'm going to say it right now because I asked them in the same order myself. I ain't psychic. I already know. The first question most of the people are asking, like, how? How do you wipe 8 billion minds? How do you keep it wiped every day without anybody catching the hand on the cloth? And that other question, I would assume, is the one that should keep you in the watching the rest of this show. And can I get it back? Can it come back? Now is what I'm going to, uh, give you for staying here all this time. Because both answers we're going to get in that order. Because 16 years ago or 1600 years ago, we're talking about this book right here. Okay. And that jar, the same buried name that we talked about, the counterfeit voice for the last show that we talked about. Somebody wrote it down how, not a metaphor, not a method. The book described what the operation gives you. It gives you something that you take, something described so precisely. When I read it, like I tell you, and I was talking about it before, you recognize it, you've had it, you had some today. And we're going to talk about it right now because I never plan to be gatekeeping the same stuff the book tells you the flaw. The operation has a crack in it. So let's get to that. We got just a few minutes left for you. So I'm going to get you out of here. And the glitch moments is what we're talking about, the certain light, the certain music, the dawn where the enormous almost structure, that's the crack, right? You've been remembering all along. It's just leaks in it. Because this stream that we're doing right now is going to end, and I'm going to, or it's going to end to you how I'm going to show you how you widen the crack. You ain't going to get rid of it, but you're going to widen the crack on purpose tonight. And the first thing is a method that I'm going to give you. So we're going to open a little bit of this book. I want you to understand something, and it's important for us to go there. And before, I think I made a notation of what I was going to do in here. Okay. But anyway, because the name is that I would have put on my screen, but it's not working. I'm going to have to just tell you. And so that you can understand that it could possibly set some people free, so to speak. I want you to pull up your own record, your identity record, every version of you that you tried on, and quietly, I want you to bury that shit. Don't act like you don't have this box. We all have it. We all have it. The year that you were going to reinvent yourself, you remember that? The new look, the new city, the new name, almost everything. The version of you that came back from the retreat with glowing eyes for about 11 days, because we're going to use 11-11. I'm just going to throw that number out there. You know, the you after the breakup, you know, you was finally going to go figure out who I really am because that person was holding you back and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And just hang on. I'm going to come to you right now. The January use, not your birthday, just January use. We're talking about the January use alone could fill the room. Every one of those versions faded. Every time one of them faded, you wrote out the same conclusion every year. Didn't you? Right? I'm inconsistent, maybe. I don't follow through. I don't even know who I am. There must not be anything in there. You know, all this kind of stuff. Reread your whole record under these 3 words. You reinvented yourself 40 times. I know I probably would have said I've done it every time New Year's Eve. The original kept wiped out, you know. And just remember, the reinvention was never vanity. It was a survival instinct. And you lacked the follow through. That's what it is, because you were rebuilding a page that reblanks itself. That is crazy. You weren't flaky. You were, it was Sisyphus. Have you ever heard that word, Sisyphus? You just come to mind. You were Sisyphus. I got my grammar block. But Sisyphus was a Greek story. And nobody told you that, remember I told y'all yesterday everything was rigged. Sisyphus, if you go remember the story, was given this huge heavy ass ball. And he was told to push it up the hill. And he would do it constantly and with all his might and strength, but he would get tired and the ball would just roll back down. And he was doing this over and over and over because he was like, oh, I'm pushing him. Sometimes he'd get further up the hill, but it was already designed that he will never make it to the top of that hill because it was rigged and the ball was just going to be too heavy going up there. And it would just push back down. And that's how some of us are. We just constantly trying to push something up a hill and it keeps rolling back down. We keep pushing and rolling back down. And nobody told you the hill was rigged. And that's the most terrible conclusion. Maybe there's nothing in there is what I'm saying. But all I'm saying is, fam, look at me when I'm telling you that there was always something there. This is why the wipe exists. Nobody runs a 16,000 century old operation to guard an empty room. You don't wipe a blank page. So I want you to hear that again, because that's tonight's goal from tonight. And that is what I call the white proof, the treasure. They just don't erase nothing. They scale the operation, and it's like they're doing something. You've been reading the emptiness as evidence, and there's nothing in it for you. That's what they're trying to say. It's always evidence of exactly the opposite. So that's the self-blame file, is what I'm saying. And the inconsistency is the charge, the lost charge. There's nothing in there. Reopen it, retried under a new name over and over. They dismiss. And so I'm throwing it out there like a case, because if I give it to you like a case, you're going to investigate it. And I know there's people that are skeptics, with Roderick, that's beautiful. That's some beautiful thought. But you named it yourself. A wife needs a method. Show me how, or whatever. Okay, that's poetry. We're doing poetry night here anyway. That's fair. That challenge is cool. I'm with you on that. So we're going to go through this. We're talking about the witness and the conspiracy of all this. I'm a conspiracy theorist, so I got to throw that in there just a little bit. For the new people, there may be new people watching this right now, so I need y'all to let me tell them 20 seconds of what you heard yesterday. In December 1945, we talked about up in Egypt, a place called Nagamaga. This is where we're talking about these scriptures. A farmer digging fertilizer swings his mattock into a sealed clay jar, almost doesn't break it open, and was afraid what was inside. Out comes these 13, bound books, 1,600 years old. His mother, burned some of the pages for cooking fire before anyone knows what they were. And the ones that survive, it gets translated over decades. One of these books was called The Secret Book of John. The same book that the last show we was talking about named a counterfeit voice for us. 16 centuries before I even found my own name for it, right? Full translation in public, and go look it up, Google it, whatever. And you can verify everything. That's it. Now, the part I didn't spend on last night, because tonight is the night, was why was that jar buried? Books don't bury themselves. Family, somebody walked to those cliffs around the year 400 with 13 books and a jar and a shovel, and they hid them carefully, sealed, meant to survive. You do that for one reason, because the alternate was fire. These books was on a destruction list. There was an order on this information. This was documented in history, not me reading it. The list was drawn out writings to be destroyed. There were a bunch of them, and across those same centuries, the libraries burnt them. Not burnt them, but libraries got burnt. Remember, they was burning libraries all the time. Whole collections. They was burning shit in history. Alexandria, the one of you hear about the stories, but it was a pattern. Schools was closed by decree, teachers scattered, texts surviving, only fragments was quoted by men who hated them. Remember, we had a time, entire bodies of memory gone. And it was done deliberately, by the way. So I want you to zoom out with me, because you know what I'm saying about these patterns. And tonight we established the memory wipe running and a personal scale, your page, your staircase, your blank door, and the history. Now, I'm going to probably shut this down. I still got about another 15 minutes that I have in my outline in my mind, but I'm getting thirsty. And I like to strain for an hour. And then I kind of go from there. And I could keep going, probably another 20 minutes if y'all got the time. Let me know if y'all got the time, because you probably want to know who are you, and whatever else, the crime, the everything else. You want to know there's no coincidences. I always tell you, coincidence is God's way of being anonymous. And the books they wanted gone, most of them, the ones on, it was a death sentence to hide a jar back then anyway. So somebody, was like, man, I'm going to risk everything to do this. And that's one of the things that you have to look at and understand that. So I'm going to probably go ahead and end tonight's show. Oh, we got time? Y'all got time? If y'all got time, I'll finish it, because I do have something good for you. I will do have some teaching, and I can teach you a few things too. But yeah, some of y'all got some time. Okay. Cool. So I want to say this that just coming off the top of my head here. There was a scripture or quote, not a scripture, but a quote. And it's in this book, the Non-Hakimano text. It said, he made them drink of water of forgiveness so that they may not know from where they came. You've heard this before. You heard it tied up in scriptures a little bit. But who? He made them drink of water of forgiveness so that they may not know where they came from. They made them drink water of forgiveness. Think about it. 1,600 years ago, before psychology had a name, before neuroscience, before anybody could describe memory as a system, somebody wrote down that the human condition of not knowing where they came from is not natural. It's not original. That's administrative. Something you are giving, something you took, something delivered like water. And think about it, everything is water. This is why the image is genius, by the way. Water is everywhere. Water is daily. Water doesn't feel like an event. Nobody remembers drinking water. It's tasteless. You never notice the dose, because the dose is your environment. Somebody knew to put this out there. And now interpreted here, this is my lens, and I'm disclosing always. Let me ask you the question that made me go cold at my desk one day. What do you think? What do you drink all day that makes you forget what you are? Think about what I just asked you. What do you drink all day that makes you forget what you are. Remember, water is the metaphor. Think about it. You don't have to answer that literally. You don't have to do that. Just look at your day, the feeds you scroll, the first thing before your eyes even fully open, the noise. You remember the noise, right? The sound machine from last night, the wall to wall, no gaps, the schedule that leaves no silence for anything on the surface. We talked about that. The screens, the rush, the endless now that keeps your attention pinned, the whole 9 yards, like a bug on a board. Every hour going down, easy, tasteless, daily. What are we drinking? What are we drinking? Or what are they putting in our water? And I told you before we opened this thing up that you had some today. Some of us had water today. And I'm not standing downstream of the water for getting this. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we're swimming in it. We're swimming in it. And the wipe was never an event. The wipe is a diet, so to speak. And I need you to catch what just connected, and especially our veterans, especially the last show. The 3 ways I fought the counterfeit voice. Remember the third weapon, the one that almost worked, the noise, the drowning, the silence. I told you that yesterday. You can go look at yesterday's video, the silence, the dangerous, how dangerous it was because silence was the backlog. I want you to look at it now, okay, and think about what I was just saying. The noise isn't just where you hid from the mail. What I was talking about yesterday, the noise is the water. The thing I used as a weapon was the dose. I was medicating myself with the wipe itself and calling and copying, and we're talking about just 2 different shows, one system though. And this is bigger than both when we get to this. So which brings me to the question your heart been holding since we've been talking about this. Can I get it back? I know you've been thinking about that right now. You had to be. That's the whole setup. And here's right now is the favorite thing that I want to just share with you. Because the manual doesn't just describe the wipe. The manual, this book describes the wipe failed. Same book, documented tour on the screen. And we're talking about the text says that listen to what I'm getting ready to say. Listen to me. The text says that hidden deep on purpose. It says that the text said that inside the human, hidden deep on purpose, where it could not be reached, a helper was placed. It calls her the Epinoia, Epinoia, if I'm pronouncing that correct, of the light. And listen to me now. This is where I knew things was going. And I'm going to shut us down after this anyway. But they're saying there's a Epinoia of light. Now, here, I don't even share this much. It's called the false self, the divine spark. Okay, I keep this hidden out of the way. But here's the deal. Before I realized what they were calling it, to get me to remember that I'm not coming back, long time ago, I developed this owl. Okay, it was an owl right here on the head. And I kept looking for names for it. And I ran all kinds of names, and then I filed for the trademark. And anybody knows, you know what I call this owl, TK? The name? The owl is called luminous. In the book of Epinoia, they call the light luminous. I didn't even know it. Same spelling, same thing I've been doing. So I've been on my journey. When I start telling you I was making my changes and doing whatever. So obviously I've been here before, and now this time I'm going to die with the knowledge of knowing I ain't coming back. Forget it. So concealed in you, specifically, so that whoever they're running this operation, the book names it, and they're saying that we have to know. We know, in other words, they're saying the light lifted the veil which lay over his mind. That was in the book. It says that the text says that the light, this light specifically, lifted the veil which lay over his mind and he became sober. Your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. Do you hear the operation on his own? What I'm talking about? The man you just confessed it. It's in this book right here. The wipe has a flaw, and the flaw was built in before the wipe was installed. And this is the part of you that they could not reach. They cannot reach the demiurge and the archons. They can't reach the divine spark. 1600 years ago, the book already told us that the room at the bottom of the staircase was never empty. And remember, I promised you at the top of the show that something is in that room. So I'm gonna break my promise today because I gotta go. I gotta get prepared for forbidden knowledge. I gotta be over there in an hour. But I think I'm just gonna upload a pre-recorded because I'm tired. Ain't nobody paying no attention to me today. I was just ranting. I told her when she came in, I said, I'm gonna go hard today. I was just going hard. We're gonna do that. So I'm gonna probably record the training, and I'll make sure I try to get it down from an hour or so this week. But there is some training that I could have given you so that you're able to understand this wholeheartedly. For those of you who've been ordering the knowledge of the world, the same stuff I'm talking and learning from, all of you who've been getting your disk drives, thank you. I'm sending them out this week. Some are already in the mail. And I do need to shut it off because not everybody needs this knowledge. 5,000 video files, 20,000 ebooks with everything in the world you want to know. 20,000 audios, things you can listen to all day long and learn. And as we all working together and finding things, I just want you to know. I just want you to know 100%. And I gave y'all my email address for those who want it. The file, this drive itself is a couple $100. It's an external hard drive. And then the contributions will pass that. Anyway, to all of you. And so someone said, take out Brooklyn Alien Town. That's an order. I'm not playing with you. I don't know. Alien Town, Brooklyn. I don't know what that means, but I love each and every one of you. And I will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. And we will do a lot of things. Huh? Oh, yeah. This show is sponsored by Make It Sown. Y'all know we talk about Make It Sown shea butter. Y'all need to go to your website and get some of that shea butter. Remember I was telling you about pain never smells so good. I was telling you about all of that stuff. It is some good stuff. And Holly has done a outstanding job. She makes this stuff personally. You can definitely, make sure you get you some shea butter. And I'm just telling you, it's off the chart. If you need a mala, Judith makes the personal malas. I got a whole bunch of them sitting over here, and I wear them for different occasions, for different reasons, for different energies, and you got to do that. Someone said that gum, good, huh? Yeah, it's pretty good, Joy. Yeah, I'm smacking on it. I know some people can't stand when somebody else is chewing gum. Don't let it emotionally and don't let it define you. It's just gum. In fact, you got gums in your mouth and you chew on them every day. Every single day. If you want a copy of the book, you can go to roderickmartin.com. Everything should be sent out to everybody who ordered with the personal autograph. Thank you so much. And like I say, those who get in the drive, we're going to get ready to cut that off for sure. But get you some mala and get you some shea butter. And also, we got poetry night coming up here pretty soon. I will put up on the website for those of you in Dallas who are going to come to our first annual community gathering, we'll call it. And you can register. It's free, but I just need to know. You can't give a donation if you know you're going to eat more than you want to eat. Because we're putting the money together for that. Bring the kids, whatever. Everybody come out. We'll have a good time and do that. But anyway, so I will see each and every one of you. And then in the Patreon, I'll record the ending of this, which is the training, which I'm going to make it shorter next time so I can make sure that we get to this for everyone. And then we will be doing that. Okay. So with that being said, y'all take care, and I will see you tomorrow.